for everyone who is ready to turn the page on the chaos and instability of Donald Trump. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans. And I take that pledge seriously. I take that pledge quite seriously. So as I've mentioned, many of you know, I spent a career as a prosecutor in law enforcement, and I will tell you, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or are you a Democrat? I never asked of anyone who needed help, if anyone who deserved attention, where were they registered and who did they vote for? The only question I ever asked was, are you okay? And that is the kind of president I pledge to you that I will be. That is my pledge to you. Because we have too much to do and too much good work to do to be relegated to requiring each of us to be in some silo, disconnected from each other. There's too much good to be done. And the challenges that we face as a nation require us, if we truly want to create solutions and strengthen our nation, the approach truly requires that we understand we're all in this together. This is so much more than rhetoric or a campaign. It really is about tapping into the spirit of who we are as Americans. Because we are all in this together. We are all in this together. And so I pledge to be a president who actively works to unite us around our highest aspirations. I pledge to you to be a president who is realistic and practical and has common sense, and to always fight for the American people. Unlike Donald Trump, who frankly, as we have seen, cares more about running on problems than fixing problems. I want to fix problems, which means working across the aisle. It requires working across the aisle. It requires embracing good ideas from wherever they come. That is why I have pledged to appoint a Republican in my cabinet. That is why I have pledged to establish a council on bipartisan solutions to recommend to me common sense solutions to some of the most pressing issues facing our country. Because nobody has a corner on the good ideas. They actually come from many places. And one should, especially if they want to be a leader, one should welcome those ideas. And those ideas, which are about, in particular, strengthening the middle class, securing our border, defending our freedoms, and maintaining our leadership in the world. And all of this is to also say that I believe for America to be the world's strongest democracy, we must have a healthy two-party system. Because it is when we have a healthy two-party system that leaders are then required to debate the merits of policy and to work, yes, across the aisle, regularly and routinely to get things done. And I have experienced firsthand how important and rewarding that kind of bipartisan cooperation can be. So I'll tell you, when I was a United States Senator, I served on the Senate Intelligence Committee. It was actually my favorite committee for a number of reasons, but specifically this. There we dealt with some of the most pressing issues affecting national security. There we would talk about hotspots around the world and what we needed to do to focus on keeping America safe and secure. And to do that, we would review classified information, which required us to meet in a secure room. Adam, you know, it's called a skiff. Okay. When we would go in that room, with all due respect, no cameras were allowed. No press. And we would roll up our sleeves and get to work. I'm telling you, senators of both parties would walk in that room, take off their suit jackets, roll up their sleeves, have a cup of coffee on the table, and we would have real conversations. Real conversations. As Americans. Because we understood that what happened in that room, well, the stakes were so high. And therefore, it could not be, we could not afford to let it be, about whether one was a Democrat or a Republican. The stakes were too high. We were in that room, and it was all about us as Americans, about doing what is in the best interest of the safety and security of our nation. I loved that work. And it was what we have as the theme of today. It was country over party in action. In action. So I know it can be done. And that is the standard of leadership and the aspiration that I have in terms of how we will work when, with your help, I am elected President of the United States. So, thank you. So, we got to get to work. So, let me just say an obvious point. There's a fundamental choice in this election, a very fundamental choice. A choice between the leadership that I pledge to offer to America, leadership that brings folks together, that builds consensus and focuses on making life better for you, with the knowledge that we have so much more in common than what separates us. And on the other hand, the choice of someone who I think we can guarantee will sit in the Oval Office plotting retribution, stew in his own grievances, and think only about himself and not you. So as I have said, our campaign is not a fight against something, it is a fight for something. It is a fight for the fundamental principles upon which we were founded. It is a fight for a new generation of leadership that is optimistic about what we can achieve together. Republicans, Democrats, and independents who want to move past the politics of division and blame and get things done on behalf of the American people. And when it all comes down to it, I know we are all here together this beautiful afternoon because we love our country. We love our country. And we are here because we know the deep privilege and pride that comes with being an American and the duty that comes along with it. And the duty that comes along with it. Imperfect though we may be, America is still that shining city upon a hill that inspires people around the world. And I do believe it is one of the highest forms of patriotism to fight for the ideals of our country. So, to people from across Pennsylvania and across our nation, let us together stand up for the rule of law, for our democratic ideals, and for the Constitution of the United States. And in 20 days, we have the power to chart a new way forward, one that is worthy of this magnificent country that we are all blessed to call home. Thank you all. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you all. Thank you all.